Alright guys, in this video we're going to talk about local and session storage. I know this is a little different from the rest of the lectures in this section because we've been talking about mostly the DOM, but I wanted to do a video on storage because we're going to be using it in our next project, which will be this actual task list application. We're going to make it so that we can add tasks, we can read them, clear them, delete them, and also persist them to local storage so that when we leave the application and come back, the tasks are still there. All right, now I've minimized the UI here just to be just a single input and a button, just because I want to show you how to submit something and have it get saved to local storage. But we're going to mostly be working just right in JavaScript, just so I can show you how to use the local storage API. All right, which is actually part of the browser. If I were to look at the window object here, you can see if we go down right here, we have our local storage API with a bunch of methods such as get item, set item, remove item. It's very simple to understand, really. I mean, you can set key value pairs, and it's important to know that what you set as a value has to be a string. Now, you can still save arrays and objects and stuff. You just have to turn them into a string first using a method called json.stringify, and then when you pull it out to use it, you want to parse it back using a method called json.parse. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do all that. But first of all, let's look at how to just set, we'll say set local storage item. And the difference between local storage and session storage is that local storage will stay until you manually clear it out in your settings or through your program, and session storage will leave. It'll go away once your browser's closed, okay, once the session ends. But other than that, the API is the exact same. So let's say we want to store local storage dot set item, and we want to store a key of name and a value of John. All right, so if I go ahead and save that and let it run, and then I go over here, and we can go and check in our DevTools. If we go to application and you go down to where it says storage, okay, there's a few ways to store data in your browser. Under local storage, we'll click our local host, and you can see that we have the name, key, and the value of John. So it's as easy as that one line to set data in your browser. All right, now you can see we also have session storage. This is from something else, just ignore that. But what we're going to do now is set something in session storage, which is the exact same. I'm just going to copy that, and we'll say set session storage item, and instead of local, we just want session. And let's set name to Beth. All right, so now we'll go ahead and save that. And now down here, you can see we have name Beth. Now, to prove to you that session storage won't stay once we close the browser, I'm going to just comment both of these out and then close up the browser, and then I'm going to just open it again. Say open with live server. And let's open up our DevTools, and if we look under local storage, you'll see name John. If we look under session storage, that name Beth is gone. Okay, so that cleared out because we ended the session. So that's the big difference between the two. Other than that, these methods here, set item, get item, these are all the same. So if you know one, you know the other. So we'll be working with local storage mostly. Now, if we want to remove this, and by the way, you can remove it using your browser. If we go and click X, that will remove it. But we can also say remove from storage. We can say local storage dot remove item name. All right, so we'll go ahead and run that. Now you can see that it's gone. All right, now to get the value, I'm going to just uncomment this again to set it. And then let's say get from storage. I wrote from twice here. So to get from storage, we can say, we can actually put it in a variable if we want. So if we say name equals local storage dot get item name, and then we'll go ahead and console.log name, and we'll save and go to our console, and now you can see we get John. All right, so very, very easy. Now if you want to clear everything, we'll set another value here. We'll say name, let's say age, we'll set that as 30, or yeah, 30 as a string. And if we save that and we say console log, actually we'll go ahead and just put in here age and set that to get item age, and we'll console log name and age. Okay, so see we have those two values. Now to clear, you can do local storage dot clear. So if we go ahead and save that, let's see, why is that not working? Let's see, clear. Oh, it's because I'm I'm resetting them every time, so I just got to get rid of this. So let's save, and now you can see that they're both null. All right, when you clear it, it's going to turn the value to null. Now, if I wanted this form to add a task to local storage, I'm just going to comment all this out. What we could do is add a submit event here. So if we say document dot get element by ID, actually we'll do query selector, and we'll just say form dot submit. I'm sorry, not dot submit, dot add event listener, and then submit, and then let's do function, pass our event parameter in there, and then just stop the default behavior. Okay, so we'll just test this out by console.log 1, 2, 3 and save and add 1, 2, 3. All right, so we'll create a variable called task, and we'll set that equal to document dot get element by ID task, which is the input, and we want to get the value. And then let's just test that out by saying task and save. We'll put something in here and add, and we can get that value. All right, now to set that to local storage, very simple. We can just do what we did up here. Just say set item. This time we'll set it to task, and we'll set it to the task variable. And then let's just do an alert, and we'll say task saved. So now if we say walk the dog and add task saved, let's go look in application, and now you can see task walk the dog. All right. Now the problem with this is if I were to add another task, like let's say pick up kids from school and add, you'll see that that gets replaced. Walk the dog now gets replaced, so we can only store one task at a time. So to fix this, what we can do is create an array of tasks and store that as a string. So what we can do, let's go down here, and let's see, we're going to say let task. We're going to initialize a tasks variable, and we want to first pull out of local storage whatever's in there, or check to see if there's something in there. If there is, pull it out and add to it. If not, just set task to an empty array and add to it. So let's do an if statement here, and we're going to say if local storage dot get item And since this is going to be an array of tasks, I'm going to call this tasks plural. All right, so we'll say if local storage.getItem tasks is equal to null, that means there's nothing in there for tasks. So we're just going to set tasks to an empty array. All right, else if there is something in there, then we want to set that local variable tasks equal to whatever's in there. So we can say local storage.getItem tasks. Now, the issue here is this is going to be a string. So what we need to do is parse this into JSON, or parse this into an object that we can use. Well, in this case, it's actually not going to be an object because we're just storing one value, an array of strings, but usually you'll store an array of JSON objects. All right, but we still want to use the JSON.parse. Okay, we still want to wrap it in that. Okay, now what we can do is push the task that's coming through the form onto this variable here. So we're going to go down here and say tasks.push and then pass in our task. That'll add to it. Now that's not going to change anything in local storage yet. We now need to reset the local storage tasks with this added value. So we're going to do our set item here. We're going to set tasks to the tasks variable, which now includes the new one we added. But remember, like I said, it has to store strings, so we need to wrap this task in JSON.stringify. Like that. All right, and that should set it as inside of an array, which is formatted as a string. So let's go ahead and save this and see what happens. I'm going to clear this single task we have right here, and let's go ahead and add walk the dog and add. And now if we make this a little bigger here, you can see that there's an array. It's actually a string, but it's formatted as an array with the value walk the dog. Now if I were to add something else here, we'll say pick up kids from school and add. Now you can see that that has been added to tasks. All right, so we basically now have this array in here. If we were to now try and pull this out, like let's go outside of this whole event right here, and let's say const tasks equals local storage dot get item tasks. And then let's try to do a for each. So we'll say for each function, and we'll pass in here task, and let's just do a console.log task. Let's see what that does. So we'll save, we'll go to our console, and we get tasks is not defined. So tasks is defined, but we can't call for each on it, so we're getting this error. So what we can do is we can parse this by saying JSON.parse, wrapping this value here. So now let's save. Wait a minute. Local storage dot const tasks. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I forgot my quotes. Let me go back for a minute. Without the JSON parse, I forgot quotes in here. It was looking at that as a variable. Okay, so now we get the correct error, which is for each is not a function, because this isn't an array that we're calling for each on. We pulled it out of local storage, which only stores strings. So now we'll wrap this in JSON.parse. And now let's save, and you can see we can loop through it. Okay, so it's now an array. So we're going to go ahead and stop here. Now, we're going to be working with local storage quite a bit throughout the course. In fact, in the next project where we actually build this task list, we'll be doing the same kind of thing. We'll also be pulling it from local storage and inserting each task into the DOM. We'll be able to delete tasks and have that persist and remove those from local storage, as well as a clear items where we can just clear them all from local storage with a button. All right, so that's it, guys. I will see you in the next section where we start on our projects.